Today, I am not going to fry or cook anything. I am going to bake, and specifically, I am making soft, plum-filled sweet buns. Hi, I'm Jacob, and let's get started. When it comes to sweet buns, people could probably argue forever about which kind is the best, whether they are filled with poppy seeds, sweet farmer's cheese, or plum jam. For me, it is actually very simple. The best sweet buns are the ones my wife bakes, and my favorite are the plum-filled ones. So let's do it. The first thing we need to prepare is the starter. The starter is made with milk, and the milk needs to be lukewarm. Since this milk just came out of the refrigerator, we warm it up in the microwave. About 30 seconds is enough. You do not want it too hot, just gently warm. Into the lukewarm milk, crumble in about 3/4 of a cube of fresh yeast. Then add medium coarse flour. 1 teaspoon is enough. Add a pinch of salt and 1 teaspoon of sugar. Mix everything really well, then let it sit for about 10 minutes so it can rise a little. Great. The starter is mixed, and now we will let it rise. In the meantime, we prepare the plums by washing them thoroughly and removing the pits. While pitting the plums, check each one carefully to make sure it is not wormy. If one of them is bad inside, throw it away. After all, we are baking dessert here, not making some crazy bottle with a worm in it. Perfect. The plums are ready, and in the meantime, the starter has risen nicely. So now let's make the dough. The dough is very simple. Add the medium coarse flour, a pinch of salt, pour in the risen starter, and mix everything well. We mix it with a wooden spoon like this and really work it together. We do not add anything else to the dough. Some people add lard or butter, but we do not, and there is only one reason for that. In our house, these buns are eaten the very same day they are baked. Of course, if you want them to stay soft and tender for 2 or 3 days, then add about 100 grams of lard or butter. Another thing we do not add to the dough is eggs. My wife simply does not use them. What really matters, though, is kneading the dough. You need to knead it from underneath like this, because that pushes air into the dough. The finished dough ball should be smooth and flexible, and it should not be sticky. And that is it. The dough is ready, and now we let it rise under a kitchen towel for about half an hour. How quickly it rises depends on the temperature. If your kitchen is warm, the dough will rise faster. If it is cooler, it will take longer. While the dough is rising, we prepare the baking pan and grease it. Some people grease it with butter, some with lard, but my wife uses vegetable oil. What matters is that you grease the sides of the pan too. Then prepare your work surface and dust it with flour so the risen dough will not stick. And then we can start shaping the buns. And this, my friends, is what properly risen dough looks like. What more can I say? Some people roll out the dough, some cut it, but my wife shapes it with a spoon like this. There is probably not much to explain here. Just watch and get inspired by the way she does it. One more thing is worth mentioning. Riper plums are better for these buns because the riper the plum is, the sweeter it becomes. My wife adds a spoonful of sugar to the filling because these plums are already pretty ripe. If your plums are not as ripe as ours, feel free to add 2 spoonfuls of sugar. That definitely will not hurt anything. One more important thing is that the buns go into the pan seam side down. Also, arrange them nicely in the pan, because if you place them neatly next to each other, they will bake into beautiful, pull-apart squares. Do not pack them too tightly, because they still need room to rise. Otherwise, they would rise too much upward, and that is not what you want. So those are our plum-filled sweet buns. Since our kids do not really like the plum ones, my wife also makes a special batch filled with sugar and cinnamon. Those are incredibly simple. You just put sugar inside the dough and sprinkle in a little cinnamon. Another important thing is to put the buns into a fully preheated oven, so now is the right time to turn the oven on. I set mine to 180 degrees Celsius, and keep in mind that the oven needs at least 7 minutes to heat up. While the oven is heating, brush the shaped buns with oil. Some people use butter, but my wife uses oil. One important detail is to brush the sides too, all the way between the buns, because as they expand in the oven, they would otherwise stick together too much. So it is important to brush oil not only on top, but also between them. Great. All done. And now the buns can go into the hot oven. They usually bake for about half an hour. Of course, that depends on your oven, because every oven bakes a little differently, so I recommend checking them from the beginning. That way you will not have to say, well, here are those amazing burnt buns. And under the video, you can write which movie that line came from. As you can see, our buns did not burn, because this is definitely not our first time making them. They look beautiful. In the jar that had the oil in it, we mix a little water with the remaining oil and brush the buns again. That makes them shiny and keeps them softer. Of course, instead of oil, you can use lard or butter. And now, my friends, we are at the finish line. What more can I say except that these buns disappeared fast, and now, as I am editing this video a few days later, I am craving them all over again. Unfortunately, they're already gone, so I will say goodbye and wish you a great meal.